mad that because you rejected me, I'm going to the palace. Because you rejected me, I'm going higher in ministry. Because you rejected me, I'm making my right connection. Because you rejected me, I'm going on to build my own. Because you rejected me, I'm going to find God in a deeper place. Blessing. Never define your value based on someone else's sickness. Never base your value based on someone else's sickness. The man that molested you was sick. You can't base your value based on what somebody sick did to you. Some of our mothers and fathers didn't know how to be mothers and fathers. So don't blame your own value on someone else's sickness. Just because they bipolar and they treat you unfair, I can't hear nobody. You don't determine your value on somebody else's sickness. They sick. So free yourself from that. And say, I'm not that just because you told me I was that. Because what happens is, in psychology, that when somebody mistreats you, you start defining yourself based on how they treated you. So you start thinking my value is based on how they treat me. And so my mind starts operating in that circle of experience, and I start keeping myself there because I believe I deserve it. That's why people who are abused become abusers. Why do they become abusers? The question has to be why. Why do they become abusers? Because that's the only power they know. Even though they know it feels dirty, it feels nasty, it feels impure, but because it recognizes it was more powerful than me. And so now I want to be powerful. I don't become healthy. I become an abuser because that's the only power I know. Oh. They don't know how to become people of healthy behavior because they weren't exposed to it. That's why they have to be healed by the power of God. Mending broken pieces have to start by understanding that certain rejection had nothing to do with you, but it had something to do with what was on you. He said, even though you rejected me, and I was distant, I'm going to set somebody free here. I was distant from my family, and I've gone through all this hell, and I've been through all this isolation. But now God has brought me to a point that I understood, even though you were the one that did me this way, and even though you was the one that said those things that made me not want to be around you anymore, you didn't send me here. God did. God blinded you so you couldn't see the value in me. He blinded you so you couldn't see the greatness in me, because if you would have seen it, the Bible said if the enemy knew that it was really Christ, can't hear nobody, but God had to hide his value so people could reject him. But when Christ was on the cross, he said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They pushing me to a higher glory. Lord, have mercy. They pushing me to a greater place. Because you rejected me, I'm better than I was before. I don't know why I was picked to be molested. I was molested at the age of 11 years old. I was molested at the age of 11 years old. I became a very mannish little boy. Mother, I was mannish. Touching and rubbing and doing stuff I had no business doing. And so I began to operate, I was telling the church, I began to operate out of contact. Men deal by contact. They got to make contact in order to feel. Women can feel without contact. But a woman would trade feeling for contact. And that's why she'll give her body before she's ready, because I want to feel, so I'll let you feel. So out of my molestation, I'm 36 now. I told my mother when I was 29 years old. That means that there was over 18 years of silence of me trying to define and trying to interpret what happened to me. I put my suit over broken pieces. I put my cologne over broken pieces. I talked to women hiding broken pieces. And I started thinking, if I can just get one more woman, if I can just get 2 more, 3 more, 4 more, sleep with all of them, I'll be the player, be the pimp, have it going on. Not knowing I was breaking myself even the more. If I get higher and smoke a joint, then smoke 2 joints, then smoke a blunt, then smoke primos, maybe I can hide these pieces. Because I was steady trying to find out, why did you allow it to happen to me? Why me? Why me? Why was I in there alone? Why was he there? Why did it have to be me? Why couldn't it have been someone else? Why me? And at 29, God told me, you start talking about it. And I said, God, I don't want to start talking about it, because if you start talking about molestation, folks start thinking you gay. I knew I saw that spirit on him. You a lie. You ain't seen that on me. You a lie. That's why folks can't tell their testimony now, because y'all with this fake discernment. Come on, somebody. It ain't discernment, it's suspicion. You suspicious. I wonder what he in. I wonder what he got. You an accuser. Anything that is an accuser is accuser of the brother. That's Satanos. It's Satan. Anytime you accuse somebody of something, it's the spirit of the enemy. Because God will never give you a discernment or a critique without a result. If God show you something about me, he just show you how to cure me. If you can see into me and call your buddy and gossip, that wasn't the Holy Ghost showed you that. That was the devil. I said, God, why did this happen to me? And God said, you start talking about it, Bishop. And I started talking about it in meetings like this. And men would come out to me with tears in their eyes and say, I never told anybody what happened to me. So even though it was ugly what happened to me, God sent me here. He put me anointing. He said, now you go talk about it. And men who have been hiding behind masculinity and 26-inch rims and dealing with obsessions in their mind that they can't break, they don't like, but it's stuff in my mind that I don't even want anymore. But now that you talked about it, I can be free, because I know I'm not the only one. You were broken for a purpose. You were broken so you can identify with somebody else's broken. There's nothing worse than a self-righteous saint. Jesus said, the Bible said Jesus was able to be touched with all of our infirmities. He was able to identify with all of our weaknesses. And if you can't identify with somebody, they feel isolated. They feel like I can't tell them. If I tell them, they're going to look at me like I'm strange. I've been in ministry too long to tell them I'm wrestling with this. I'm going to put this mic down right here. I've been saved too long to tell them I'm dealing with this. If they really knew my story, would they still allow me to preach? If they really knew what I was really thinking, would they still allow me to sing in their church? If they knew what I almost did last week. Because I tell people all the time, I'm done. I'm trying to stop y'all. I try to tell folk all the time, who picked your theme? You didn't pick it. Because if you had a chance to pick it, I'm sure you wouldn't pick that. Who picked your theme? picked your thorn? Who picked that thing that you can't get rid of? Who picked it for you? God said, I picked it for you because I knew you can overcome it. And when you overcome it, you open your big mouth and you tell it, because I'm going to free them by the words of their testimony. And you can't have a testimony without having a thorn. You can't have a testimony without having an obstacle to overcome.